Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of the Carlisle United Career Mode Save, and this is episode number 26. And if you see the calendar, we are in January, which means transfer window is now officially open. And for today's episode we will play 4 games. First would be against Reading, round 3 of the FA Cup. Tough fixture. And also next one against Charlton, the return fixture after we drew them in the league 0-0 in the 24th episode. In the 24th episode. And then we'll play against Walsall, and to end the episode we are going to play against Doncaster. And right after the transfer window was open, 3 players came to us requesting to be put onto the transfer list, which is no surprise because they have already requested transfer moves out of the club, and that would be Arthur, Jamie David, and also Gary Liddell. Sad to see them go, especially Arthur, but it is what it is. And we move on to the next crop of players that we pick up from the Youth Scout update. Nothing too much from Korea and England, as we do put them on further scouting notice, but there was one player that we picked up from the Australian scouting update, which would be Collins, a right wing player. Again, hopefully a decent player that we can probably put in the squad in the coming seasons or in the coming matches, depending on how fast or how well he grows into the whole thing. But as promised, Gary Liddell, Jamie David, and also Arthur will be placed on the transfer list. And I really didn't know who we could sign or couldn't sign because the board weren't exactly kind with the whole transfer budget and whatnot. But I did have my eye on one player, Matt Clark, who was going to be released at the end of the season by Portsmouth, as he didn't want to renew his contract with them, with the Pompeys. So what I decided to do, I decided to snap him up on a pre-contract agreement for next season. Hopefully we will be in the championship, but even if we aren't, Clark with the 72 overall will definitely be an upgrade with the players that we currently have in the centre-back position. As we know, Freeman is a growing player. I think 66 overall at the moment, constantly growing, constantly getting better. But the other players, Grant, the reserve centre-back if you will, isn't too great. 62 overall, nothing much to show for him. And Liddell, who is going to be leaving us soon, I guess, and also Parks is alright. He is a dependable centre-back, but also not exactly the best choice centre-back at the moment. So with the addition of Matt Clark in the team for next season, it'll definitely be an upgrade with the players that we currently have. But still, for the first game of today's episode, as I mentioned earlier, FA Cup 3rd round against Reading, it was a very tough fixture. I managed to keep them on the low for the most part of the first half, but I really couldn't contain them, and in the end of the first half they do take a 1-0 lead through Algeria. And from that point onwards, bar this chance that we had through Tyler Mason very early in the second half where he hit the crossbar, maybe if we took a 1-1 draw by the 50th minute, things would have gone differently. But it just never really worked out for us. As you could see there, we really weren't any match for Reading, as they do take a 2-0 lead there. The guy just shoved our defender off the ball and just scored to make it 2-0. And shortly after that, things just got worse for us, as we tried to play up from the back after a good defensive stunt, but we eventually gave the ball away and gifted another goal for Reading. So maybe if our set of defenders were better, we wouldn't have capitulated like this against them. but still it is what it is, and I guess it was a little expected as well, as Reading were in the championships. Even if they are doing a little poor in terms of league position, they are still a lot better than we currently are at the moment. But we still managed to get a consolation goal through Glendon. A very good header against the post, and I guess because it's against the post, which is why the goalkeeper didn't decide to even dive for the ball, as he probably knew that it's either going out or it's going into the back of the net. But still, consolation goal. But it didn't stop Reading to try and get another goal, and they eventually do take a 4-1 lead towards the end of the game. Really tried my best to defend, but really was no match for Reading, as Barrow made it 4-1 in the 80th minute. Disappointed to have lost the game, disappointed to have not gone further in the cup, as we made it to the semi-final last season before we got thrashed by Spurs. But still, disappointed to have not made it further. Would have loved to made it further, but if it makes it any better, there are lesser games for us to play, which also means that we are not going to be as tired as we were last season. The only cup that we have remaining to play besides the league is the EFL trophy, so hopefully, as we are in the area final for that cup, hopefully we win that one and get another silverware besides the League 2 Championship medal that we won in the last season. But moving on from the whole thing of the FA Cup and so on, there was a loan bid for Tyler Mason that we accepted, but Mason wasn't happy to leave on loan, as he probably enjoys his time coming off the bench and also getting some minutes in the games that we do decide to play him. And in the next game against Charlton, the team that we drew in the previous... Was it the previous episode? No, yeah, I think the previous episode, yeah. Wait, no. Episode 24, sorry. Yeah, we drew with them 0-0 we drew with them 0-0 in the league, but we won against them 1-0 in the area semi-final in the EFL trophy. And very early on in this game, we did take the lead in the 36th minute through Billy Gilmore, a smashing hit from just outside the box. And I know I have been critical of him, so maybe he heard of it and he just sat there and just hit the ball into the back of the net like a bullet. Nothing the keeper could have done about that. And in the second half of the game, it was all Charlton. It really was all chanted, and we were lucky to not go down by 2 or 3 goals, as once again Charlton players finishing was just inexistent. So we take the 1-0 win, and right after the game there was an email saying that Gary Liddell was approached for pre-contract, and we are okay with that. And Arthur, there was a bid for Arthur from Aguilas for 395,000. We accepted a bid for £400,000, and they are eventually leaving the team. Arthur was sold for £400,000, and Gary Liddell will be leaving the team at the end of the season. But this was the big one that surprised me. Real Madrid were in for Ethan Davies. Ethan Davies, as you guys would have known, already has a Player of the Month award to his name, and is also the current leading assist guy in League 1. So Real Madrid took notice of our right winger and put in a bid of 1.4 million, which we eventually rejected because let's be honest, Davies is not going anywhere at the moment, at least, as he is a star player in our team, a very young but also a very good star player in the team. So sorry Real, we are not selling our best player to you, at least not for now. maybe if you come in the future with, I don't know, 20 million or 40 million, I will consider, but at the moment the offer is not going to be accepted. But still, for the next game against Walsall, despite beating them 1-0 earlier in the season, it was relatively tough to break them down this time. I don't know, maybe it's because we are playing away at Walsall's home, but it was tough to get through their defences, and also tough to create chances. As you would have seen there, Ismail got a yellow card for taking down Son. Yeah, I really don't know why they do this to our youth players. The player that we have a potential to be special tag is the player that they decide to take out. But credits to Son as he soldiered on despite carrying the injury, and we really should have taken a 1-0 lead towards the end of the first half, where Turner had his shot saved from close range by the Walsall goalkeeper, and we were made to pay for that miss in the second half. Very late in the second half, a very uneventful second half. There was really nothing much going on throughout the second half, but once again we concede in the very last minute. Well, not exactly the last minute, but you get the idea. 88th minute. Yeah, 1-0 loss, detrimental to our ideas and our goals to get into the top 2. But following that defeat, we had another email coming in saying that David had an offer which he accepted, and he will be leaving at the end of the season. An offer from Al Hazim, and hopefully Jamie David gets the minute that he so wants. And yeah, all the best to you, David, in your future endeavours. So there were a couple of bids after that for Brendan Clark, which we rejected. Of course we are going to reject. Brendan Clark has been amazing every time he comes off the bench for us. And there was also a bid for Tom James. I know I said something about moving on Tom James, but it's not this season. It's definitely not this season. Probably next season in the summer or in January, but definitely not this season. We still need him. So if you guys want Tom James, you can come back next season. Maybe I'll decide to sell the guy. But still, coming back to the episode, for the last game of today's episode against Doncaster, I decided to go full on attack mode very early on because of the defeat against Walsall, and this, oh my god, contender for goal of the season already, Ethan Davis. This is why Real Madrid put in the 1.4 million bid for this young man. Look at that technique, a wonderful scissor kick right into the left hand side of the goalpost. Nothing the goalkeeper could have done about that. A beautiful chip ball from Ryan Brewster for the assist, and a wonderful finish from Ethan Davis. And he really should have made it 2-0, and I thought that he probably should have scored. He really should have scored there, because earlier he planted a scissor kick with the left foot, and this time he missed with his left foot, and the ball just trickled away further, very far away from the goalpost. And after that, it was very tough to get past Doncaster. It was just the first 10 minutes that we were having a foothold in the game, and after that it was all Doncaster. We had a tough time breaking them down, and it was only late in the first half we get a small opportunity, and yeah, the goalkeeper puts it for a corner. But still, to be honest, our defense were holding up a lot better than the previous games, but it was yours truly, it was myself who caused the issue this time around, trying to play out from the back once again, trying to pass out from the back once again, and gifting the ball to Doncaster players, and they eventually scored right after that. A frustrating way to end today's episode, and probably should have taken a 2-1 lead at the end of the game through Brandon Clark right here, but again, we really shouldn't leave it until so late to claim 3 points from a match. We really should be more clinical, more creative in our game. But 1-1 at the end against a tough opponent, I'll take it, it's fine. And man of the match performance from Ethan Davis, a wonderful scissor kick from Ethan Davis, which is why Real Madrid came knocking. We all know that. But still, right after that, there was a loan offer for Tyler Mason, which we rejected because Mason rejected the loan earlier in the month in the episode, so we are going to reject it for him. And the transfer window officially closes. We made one transfer in, and it's not even for this season, it's for the next season. Matt Clark coming in for the centre back role. 3 players leaving us. 1 player immediately, which would be Arthur, and 2 players would be leaving us at the end of the season, David and Gary Liddell. But we are probably not going to miss the players, as we have a bright future ahead of us in terms of our youth players and our youth setup. So that is where we are going to end today's episode, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode as much as I did. And if you guys enjoyed today's episode, please do drop a like and consider subscribing to the channel. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.